Fandoms are filled with a bunch of fanatics, for a good reason, which is something that some people do not like. I hope more normal people start using AO3 and make y'all rightfully uncomfortable for treating incest and rape as porn categories and not serious offenses that affect billions of people and especially children every single day. Okay, where do I begin with this one? First off, you are conflating fictional depictions as endorsements. They are not. People murder in fiction all the time. Murder is also a serious offense that affects millions every day. That doesn't mean we want to do the same thing in real life. The same goes with incest and rape. Just because they are into those things doesn't mean they want to screw their family or being involved in sexual situations without their consent. Second, you are encouraging people to bully others for the things they like and make them feel uncomfortable for it for completely unjustified reasons. Just because you feel uncomfortable with the fiction that people enjoy doesn't mean you should make those people feel the same way you do. That is incredibly monstrous. Third, bringing up millions of people and children every single day being affected by all these monstrous things is not an argument. Children get murdered in fiction all the time. Does that mean we should ban Five Nights at Freddy's? Okay, people are starting to like this post, muting it before pro-shippers find it and start saying stupid crap to me. Ah, you're one of those anti-shippers. I've never encountered an anti-shipper that talks the way you do. That is sane, so keep confusing fiction and reality. Also, if you don't want people to call you out for asking stupid crap, I recommend you stop saying stuff like poop crappers. It is necessary for fandoms to have fans, and by fans, I mean fanatics who are obsessed with the media in question and want to talk about it all day. The same way I am with Katawa Shoujo and want to talk about that all day. The Weirdos gave you all racism, Hitler, turfism, Adolf Hitler, pedophiles, rape apologia, misogyny, Hitler. Wow, I wonder why you called out Hitler like 100 times there. The context is this thread, talking about how the Weirdos are the backbone of any fandom, and trying to make everyone normal kills everything enjoyable about it. I agree with this. If everyone in a fandom is normal, then there wouldn't be a fandom to begin with. The Weirdos built the fandom brick by freaking brick. But then we have tourists like this saying that they're the reason why we have all sorts of bigotry. Sorry to say this to you, but all those monstrous things, especially that doofus dictator with the dumb mustache, already exists before the creations of fandoms. They don't just suddenly appear out of nowhere. It just so happens that there are plenty of people online gathering and sharing their love towards a certain piece of media who just so happen to share those opinions. Weirdos do not give you all those things. They unfortunately already exist. If you want to fight all that, it's better for you not to attack innocent people for it. There's a good reason why fandom is populated by fanatics and weirdos. They're the ones that make the fandom unique and exciting. But some people really want to change that, even at the expense of freedom of expression. The anime tourists are coming in to get outraged again over a visual novel of all things. This is a visual novel that the guy called Subarashiki Hibi or Subahibi or just Wonderful Every Day. This is a remake of Sui no Sora, but this is not just a remake. This is an extended cut that is like 5 times longer than the original. Whether that's better or not for the story, I can't tell because I haven't played it, so thank you TVT and Wikipedia for getting me up to speed. The plot is a bit complicated to explain, but if you have seen the movie Identity, it's kinda like that, mixed with Alice in Wonderland and Suicide Club. Anime Twitter mofos be glorifying series with rape, bestiality, and incest just to get accepted by elitists. Well, to provide some context, there is a CG that was entirely cut from the English version, involving a dog performing non-consensual activities with a bullied girl. It still happened in text, and it's very short. Incest, on the other hand, there's one instance of it that is downright bizarre, but more importantly, banging your sister is one of the endings that you can get. So yeah, that does happen, but it's fiction, so I really don't see why you should care for it. This is why I will never seriously get into visual novels. I swear, there isn't a single normal one out there. Wow, what a respectful thing to say towards visual novels and its fans. He's just blatantly calling visual novels, the medium that brought us Phoenix Wright, the When They Cry series, the Fate franchise, Tsukihime, which leads to Melty Blood and Carnival Phantasm, Steins Gate, Clannad, Lil Busters, If My Heart Had Wings, amazing soundtrack, Katawa Shoujo, my favorite of all time, and it's free, you can download it right now. Yeah, they're not normal. There isn't one that is normal just because one visual novel features something really messed up. This is how you consume media? Just going, ew, gross on everything? Not the most critical observation on the medium, don't you think? You're supposed to be an intellectual, but you're acting like a moral guardian screaming, ew, gross, sticking to children. These are the kinds of people that should be kicked out of the medium. Ew, gross is not criticism, and people online should stop pretending that it is. People genuinely have some form of fiction psychosis. I don't jive with the fiction doesn't affect reality crowd because they always exclude propaganda and racism. That's because propaganda is not fiction. Yes, it can be delivered in a fictional context like God's Not Dead, awful movie, do not watch, but propaganda is intended to deliver a message to the viewers. Most fictional works these days are not propaganda, and if you see it that way, then there's something wrong with you. As for racism, I have no idea what fiction that you're watching these days because none of them makes me want to discriminate against another person because of their race. If anything, they discourage it. Even Star Trek the original series discourages it, and that's a show from the 60s. There's way too much history that proves the argument is false every time. That's because most times in history, we don't have smartphones or easy access to information to prove and verify that the information we got from fiction is false. But unfortunately, even the advancements of technology don't stop people from getting things wrong. These people never want to think or critique anything. Now is not the time to be turning our brains off. And yet, you're turning off yours when engaging in the most basic of distinction. Propaganda is not fiction. People really should chill out with fiction affecting reality arguments because some of these are just ridiculous. Fiction doesn't affect reality, but then some of them will be defending characters from live action shows being drawn in sexual situations. Yeah, that's a very complicated thing to take a stance on, especially when there are so many people making ships of real content creators and artists online. This is my personal stance. I'm fine with drawing this version of Harry Potter in not safe for work situations, because that is a drawing of Harry Potter, not a drawing of Daniel Radcliffe as Harry Potter. Speaking of Harry Potter, a while back, I remembered when Kotaku got in a lot of trouble for sharing Harry Potter porn featuring literal PS2 models of the real life actors when they were minors in 18+ situations. What is wrong with you? Fiction doesn't affect reality, but they be foaming at the mouth the second someone with darker skin is mentioned. That's not what people meant as fiction affecting reality. It's about how fiction might turn you to a killer or a racist, not fiction making you react to a non-white character because you're already racist to begin with. Also, while I do believe that there are genuine racists online that will react negatively to any character who isn't white, they are never going to change their worldview. Their world must change drastically first, and none of us have the power to do that. They really do only think about it through the lens of protecting incest rape fictions, and not like media being anti-black, misogynist, white supremacist, or patriarchal propaganda. Yeah, sorry to say this, but fiction not affecting reality still applies to those things. If you encounter an actual sexist, racist, misogynist, white supremacist online, there's a high chance that they become that way not because of fiction. You might want to look up studies on why people form bigoted opinions, but there are way more factors to it than just a media that tells people to be bigots. People who are obsessed with politics are not thinking rationally. It's absolutely crazy to me that lolicons and pro-fanservice types are even associated with the right wing, since they've always been in support of censoring media for degeneracy. That's because you lumped everyone in the right, assuming that they all behave the same way. I think it's neither healthy nor productive to think of the issues of fan service and lolis politically, because it's not a political issue, and obsessing over politics is not healthy for your mind and sanity. We need less insane people in this world, not more. And participating in politics is a guaranteed way to make you go insane. I'm not even joking. There are studies that show that. The influx of edgy right-wingers into online culture in the 2000s really set itself up for failure. Well, I don't sense any sorts of failure on the edgy right-wingers. They still exist even to this day, and they're still making people mad, especially leftists. Actually, the right has a far greater diversity of opinions. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna engage on whose political sides have the most diverse opinions. If you want to see correlations between anime discourse and political ideologies, go nuts. And I mean literally go nuts, because that's what you're gonna end up being. Here's another unhealthy thing that people online do: glorifying false perceptions of history to justify modern actions. This is a ridiculous request. I want you to appreciate that the Victorians were able to discipline and civilize women to the point where they could carry a conversation. I don't know why you pointed out to this horny-ass novel, literally horny, but are you saying that women are not allowed to express themselves sexually because you personally find it disgusting that they do? Are you saying that women should be like the ones during the Victorian times, where men can discipline them and civilize them? That is encouraging censorship and restriction towards freedom of expression, and I do not tolerate that at all. Also, here's a big problem with that assessment. Women being pure and civilized during the Victorian times, that's only true for the middle class and the elites. And even then, it's only a societal expectation, not the reality. Women back then are capable of being promiscuous, cohabitate, premarital sex, all that stuff. Prostitution is a thing back in those days too, if you can recall correctly. Not to mention, since you bring up erotic fiction, women not only read that stuff, they also made them during those times. The point is, that era only looks modest at the surface, but they're incredibly raunchy once you look past the societal demands of modesty and repression. If you are going to be a misogynist who wants to take control of women's freedom of expression just because they make horny erotic novels, at least know their history better. And that's all for the video today. Here's a cat. Huge thanks to all the wonderful sponsors this week. You're all fantastic. Don't forget to check out my previous videos here. Click the like button, comment, subscribe, join the YouTube membership, leave some tips, just $1 down below. And thanks for watching.